Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is where you get yourself a better broadcast, podcast, and voice-over voice. Yeah, this is the pocket-sized podcast that I've been presenting for the last, nearly 1,000 days. We're heading further onto that milestone event, even though I say so myself. And at the moment, we're talking about different explanations of different words to use in and outside the studio to do with voice. It may be, something in a studio, something to do with a setting, something to do with your actual personal voice as well. So what have we got down to talk about briefly today in our Diction-ary of voice? See what I did there? AVO. Do you know what AVO stands for? Also, Audacity. It's not cheekiness. We're going to be explaining that particular definition in a few moments' time. Aspirate in a few moments' time. But first of all, alveolus. Alveolus. Do you know what that word means when it comes to your voice? Okay, well, let's start off with that. Hello, I'm Peter Stewart. Welcome to today's episode on Twitter. Thank you, Tweeter Stewart, TWEETERSTEWART. Alveolus is the area just behind your upper teeth, where your tongue darts to in the final sound of the word sin. Sin. Yeah, the area is fantastic, isn't it? That every part of your body, even the smallest area, has a name. And this is the name for the part of your mouth just behind your upper teeth, where your tongue darts to when you say a word sin. It's just there. It's where your tip of your tongue, just there. Okay, that's alveolus. Aspirate. A-S-P-I-R-A-T-E. Aspirate. It's the release of a puff of air in the pronunciation of a word. So the air is not as pronounced as a plosive might be. We've spoken about plosives before. The initial sound of the word, pronounced, for example. So if you say pronounced or butter, you'll notice if you say it really slowly that you've got that build up of air behind your closed lips, and then when you actually open up your lips, the air comes out and the initial letter for a P or a B, for example. But aspirated sounds are not those. They're softer, as in Santa saying ho, ho, ho. So you've still got a very airy sound, but it's not held back as much as it might be with a P or a B, but it is still there with a ho, ho, ho. Audacity is the free audio editing software. It's a common DAW, D-A-W, digital audio workstation. So in other words, it's the program on which you can record and edit audio. It's Audacity. If you're not using that and you're just starting off in your career, you may want to have a little go at it. It can be a little bit clunky, but it's pretty powerful considering it's free. Not necessarily the best laid out, but as I say, it's free. And before you upgrade, even if you need to another one, it's certainly a good way to learn your editing skills. It's a common usage, so other people kind of contribute and work towards improving the program in different ways. So as I say, Audacity, A-U-D-A-C-I-T-Y. Authenticity is our last, second to last A today. A speaking style that shows credibility and generates trust. Yeah, if you want an authentic read, it's probably not a read which is a narrator style, and certainly not an announcer style, but it's an authentic style. It's where perhaps you're going to soften how you're speaking. You're probably going to slow down a little bit. It's much more one-to-one. It's a bit more conversational, perhaps. You're speaking to someone on the same level rather than talking up or talking down to them, as it may be required in other speaking styles. An authentic speaking style that shows credibility and generates trust. And finally, I mentioned this a few moments ago, AVO. What does AVO stand for? Well, I kind of mentioned it a few moments ago. An announcer voiceover. Not so much called for nowadays, but if you're aware of the work of Peter Dixon on the start of the British talent show, Britain's Got Talent, and also the stand-up show live at the Apollo, then you'll be familiar with Peter's work in these particular situations, very much an announcer voiceover. It's big, it's bold, it's brash, it gets your attention. Most of those kinds of styles of voiceover have long since gone, but sometimes you need that kind of big, bold, brash announcer, almost shouting style. It grabs attention. It can be a little bit cliched, a little bit cheesy, but it works very, very well for those kinds of programs. So AVO, announcer voiceover. Okay, back tomorrow with some Bs. We're talking B2Bs and B2Cs. We got beats, we got beds, and also we're talking about bilabial as well. Coming tomorrow on Get a Better Broadcast podcast and Voiceover Voice. From London, I'm Peter Stewart.